Such is the legend which seeks to attribute the present form of Freemasonry to the connection of the Dionysiac artisans of Tyre with the Jewish workmen at the building of the temple. So much of the legend as relates to the existence of a building sodality at Tyre, leaving out the question whether they were or were not Dionysiacs, some of whose members went to Jerusalem to assist in the construction of the Solomonic temple, may, I think, be accepted as indisputably historic. What were the real influences exerted by them on the Jewish people is a question whose answer finds no place in the realm of history, but must be relegated to the doubtful domain of conjecture. Brewster has described the Dionysiacs as they existed in about the 3rd century before Christ, and after their incorporation by King Attalus, as if they maintained the same condition in the reign of Hiram of Tyre 700 years before. For this statement there is no warrant in any historical record. The supposition that the Dionysiacs of Tyre and those of Teos were identical in organization is simply a theory based on a mere assumption. It is, however, certain that they who adopt the legendary theory that Freemasonry was first organized at the Temple of Solomon will find much to sustain their theory in the legend of the Dionysiac artificers. It is equally certain that those who deny the temple theory will have to reject the Dionysiac, for the two are too closely connected to be arbitrarily dissevered. But laying the subject of Freemasonry altogether aside, and considering the connection of the Tyrians and the Jews at the temple as a mere historical question, it would present a very interesting study of history to determine what were the results of that connection, if there were any way of solving it except by mere conjecture. The subsequent history of the Association of Dionysiac Architects forms no part of the legend which has just been recited, but it may be interesting to trace their progress. About 700 years after the building of the temple at Jerusalem, they are said to have been incorporated by the king of Pergamum, an ancient province of Mysia, as a society exclusively engaged in the erection of public buildings such as theaters and temples. They settled at Teos, an Ionian city on the coast of Asia Minor, where, notwithstanding its intestine troubles, they remained for several centuries. Among the works accomplished by them were a magnificent theatre and a splendid temple of Dionysus, some ruins of which still remain. But proving turbulent and seditious, they were at length expelled from Teos and removed to the city of Ephesus. Thence they were transferred by King Attalus to the town of Dionysus. The Pt.I.s, having sent an embassy to Rome to request that the Masons should not be permitted to fortify their city, the Dionysiacs removed to Libidos, about 15 miles from Teos, where they were joyfully welcomed. In the 5th century of the Christian era, the Emperor Theodosius abolished all mystical associations, but the Dionysiacs are said to have continued their existence until the time of the Crusades, when they passed over into Europe and were merged in the association of builders known as the traveling Freemasons of the Middle Ages. This latter part of the narrative is, I think, merely legendary or traditional, and will find no support in authentic history. It is, however, an historical study to be examined hereafter.